Hello, this is Mr. K's, and this is 23.2C. 23.2C. We are in such a mess, such a pickle. The French Revolution is in full swing. The king has been arrested. He is limited in his power. The lawmakers now are going to be the French citizens. The king is still in power, but his powers are severely curtailed, and we see a split in goals, conflicting goals in these lawmakers. Some are radical, some are moderate, some are conservative. We can even go and see folks even more radical than these three. You've got the emigres, who were nobles, nobles and others, who wanted to restore things the way they were to the old regime. They wanted things that used to be again, where King Louis has full power. And then you have on the other side, the extreme left, people called the sans-culottes. Sans is French for without. Culottes are pants. Now, they aren't folks that are running around naked. It means literally those without knee breeches. They wore long pants, and they tended to be your shopkeepers and people who didn't have a say. They wanted to do away with the monarchy altogether. So they were the most radical, and the emigres were the ones that were the most conservative. Well, war is going to raise its ugly head in France. Austria is standing next door, and they're watching what's happening as far as France goes. French radicals hoped to spread their revolution to all the people of Europe. That was their goal. They wanted to spread revolution to all the peoples of Europe. That means other countries like Austria, Italy, Spain, the Netherlands, etc., etc. The Legislative Assembly declared war on Austria in April 1792. Austria was kind of gathering troops at the border anyway, so the Legislative Assembly declared war on Austria. Some bad things are happening. The September massacres were murders of 1,000 royalist prisoners, people who supported the king, by Paris mobs. They were scared now. There's an enemy outside the country that's trying to come in. We've got dissent here inside the country, prisoners that might actually support our enemies. We're going to kill them, and they did. They slaughtered 1,000 royalist prisoners by local Paris citizens. The National Convention was formed in 1791 when the Legislative Assembly members gave up the idea of a limited monarchy. It's not going to work. We can't have the king. So the National Convention was formed in 1791 when the Legislative Assembly members gave up the idea of a limited monarchy. Just not going to work. So you see the baton handed off again. Mobs made up of poor people and led by the bourgeoisie, B-O-U-R-G-E-O-I-S-I-E, ruled France in 1792. Now look at the makeup here. You have the Jacobin Club. Looks like the Jacobin Club. It's the Jacobin Club. Was a radical group that desired to remove the king and set up a republic. They wanted to remove the king and set up a republic, a democracy instead of a monarchy. Key figure, Jean-Paul Marat. He was a radical leader. And he wrote editorials that called for executing enemies of the revolution. Radical leader, and he wrote editorials called for the executing enemies of the revolution. It's interesting, Marat had a skin disease in which he felt better when he was sitting in a cold bathtub. So guess what? Most of the day he was in a bathtub, and he wrote his letters with a lapboard that he had available. Georges Danton was a speaker, and he wanted rights for the poor. He spoke about rights for the poor. So you have very vocal members of the Jacobin Club, or the Jacobin Club. The National Convention met in Paris on September 21st to abolish the monarchy and declare France a republic. Here it goes. Here it goes. The king's going to lose his noggin. The National Convention met in September 21st to abolish the monarchy and declare France a republic. And what they used is the guillotine. It was a new form of execution in which a blade came down a track and severed a head from a body. King Louis XVI was executed on January 21st, 1793 by the guillotine. Good old Louis was executed on January 21st, 1793 by the guillotine. Okay, the king's gone, we got a republic. The republic's first problem was to deal with the war with Austria and Prussia, Prussia. The first problem was to deal with the continuing war with Austria and Prussia. So a draft was held to increase the army from 300,000 to 800,000. The draft was held to increase the army. It went from 300,000 citizens to 800,000. There's going to be a shootout, folks. So we're going to see how this ends. This is Mr. K's signing off 23.2C.